Okay, there's a writer that I know. I won't mention his name, but he was meeting Steven Seagal for the rewrite for the writing potentially for Under Siege 2.
Right.
And that was the one that broke him when it made $57 million when that was $57 million in the early 90s. And so he goes into one of those trailers, to meet with Steven Seagal, and he's on the set, and it's one of those big triple bangers where you go into this trailer and it's like you can get lost in there. It's a maze of pop-outs, It's like, which pop-out is Steven Seagal? And he's in the third bedroom to the left at the end of the hall.
Big star.
And he's waiting in there for 45 minutes. He's making him wait, sitting there by himself. Finally, Steven Seagal emerges from one of the other ante-rooms in the mobile home. And he comes out and he said, "I just read the greatest script I've ever read in my life." He goes, "Really? Who wrote it?" "I did."
Hey everyone, this is Jeff, aka 101 Bronson, bringing you finally at long last my Steven Seagal collection, my complete Steven Seagal collection. I'm finally done with Seagal. I got all of his movies in my collection. I'm finally through with the pain and suffering of sitting through movies that just keep getting worse and worse and worse. But I do have to say, despite some of these movies really being terrible, this is not going to be a overly negative bashing of Seagal like I did in my last collection video. Go check that out if you haven't. I did that back in 2020. It was when I sort of made my return to YouTube. It was one of my first videos I did back then. And that turned into much more of a Seagal bashing than just, going over the title and stuff. But there's still going to be a little bit of that, obviously, because, well, he takes himself so seriously. It's okay for us to have fun. And fun is definitely what we have with some of these films. Some legitimate fun, like with great films like Above the Law, Hard to Kill, Out for Justice, and etc., etc. And we have unintentional fun with stuff like A Good Man and Shadow Man, End of a Gun. That was unintentionally funny, that film. Anyway, let's just go over every Steven Seagal title. Now, if you guys want to see what, in my estimation, because I did skip 2 or 3 titles, so I did technically cheat a little bit. I didn't get a film like Clementine, which is only in for 5 minutes. I didn't get China Salesman, which is only in for 5 minutes. I didn't get the Onion film where he plays the cock puncher, because I want to have the main sort of Seagal film, so that's what I have. But if you guys want to see what that does look like, take a look at this huge ass pile. There's so much I can fill in there, but this is my Seagal collection. This is really, really big pile of a stack of films here. Anyway, usually when I do these collection videos and stuff, I switch the camera and show you a sort of POV. For this one, we're going to do it like this. It's also going to be a throwback to when I did that first Seagal collection, because I did it like this, or held the titles like this. So let's just segue right into the collection. Let's go take this to the bank, to the blood bank. Anyway, Steven Seagal, let's start with his television work and with his reality show is coming up first. Steven Seagal, Lawman, where he is a real deputy sheriff in Louisiana, in Jefferson Parish, Louisiana. And a camera crew follows him and his squad around.
I make a living in the movies, but for the past 20 years,
11825 code 6.
I've also been a cop. And along with some of the finest deputies on the force, I serve the people of Jefferson Parish, Louisiana.
Code 94.
My name is Steven Seagal.
All units respond.
That's right, Steven Seagal, Deputy Sheriff.
This is season 1. And even the episode titles, they sound like Seagal films. The Way of the Gun, The Deadly Hand, Too Young to Die, Firearms of Fury. These are some of the episode titles. How, back when this came out, like 2009, 2010, I guess, I was actually very big on this show. It aired here in the Netherlands. I remember it was on RTL 7, which is a station, TV station we got here, TV channel. And I actually really enjoy it. I still enjoy it, but now I enjoy it for its just pure comedy gold. I mean, if you ever want to have a great time, having some great unintentional laughs, Steven Seagal, man, like every episode, he's an expert on something else. Like in the first episode, he's an expert marksman. He's an expert martial artist. We all know this. And then like the second or third episode, we focus on his music scale. So he's an expert guitar player and all that kind of stuff. Then later episode, he's an expert swords fighter. Whenever his and his team are cruising and they come across something, like they're cruising by and let's say there's a chopper in the air, Steven will recognize the make and mark of the chopper. And the guy sitting next to him will say, "How do you know that, Steven?" "Well, I've been studying choppers for most of my life." Literally every episode he says he has been doing, one of these things for most of his life. It's hilarious. Anyway, that did get 3 seasons, but only 2 are available on DVD. So here is season 2. Unfortunately, they did not release season 3 because there was some controversy, I think, with that one. They also moved out of Louisiana for that season, and Steven went to, what was it? Was it Phoenix, Arizona? I think it was Arizona. But yeah, this is Lawman season 2. Yeah, still okay. I mean, like I said, there's some great unintentional fun to be had with this. I mean, I remember I watched this with a couple of my buddies over the years, with different buddies, and everybody just has the same reaction to it. It's so hilarious. It's so great to watch, as for a group gathering, have some beers and stuff, It's hilarious. Anyway, some more TV work. He did also some fiction, if you can call this non-fiction. He also did some fiction TV show where he played a cop. True Justice. Now, this got 2 seasons. Now, the thing is, what they did here for the releases in both the Netherlands and Germany, as far as I'm aware, is they took episodes and put them together into like movie format. So you pretty much have a couple of mini movies here in this set. Let's say one mini movie is like 2 episodes combined. So you got Deadly Crossing here. I think this is the first one for season 1 then. Dark Vengeance. Lethal Justice. Street Wars. Brotherhood. Urban Warfare. And I think in that final episode, like all of Seagal's team members get killed, if I remember correctly. So they had to recast his team members, or they had to give him a second team for the follow-up season, which I never fully watched. I still need to completely watch this because it just sort of fell apart for me. I was really digging the first sort of season with these first couple of TV movies, I guess. But I still need to finish the rest of the movie. Yeah, Blood Alley. What's the other title there? Vengeance is Mine. Violence of Action, Angel of Death, Dead Drop, and One Shot, One Life. There you go. Those are the episodes for True Justice. Now we finally move over to films, and we start off with some great films and a great box set from the UK here. The Steven Seagal collection featuring Under Siege, Under Siege 2, Hard to Kill, Above the Law, aka Nico, as we know it in Europe and in the UK, and Executive Decision, which I also don't count as a Seagal film, but anyway, here's the discs for it. Under Siege 2, Dark Territory, Hard to Kill. Shout out to Gareth Video Tasties, doing a watch party with him on this one. And then this one contains Nico and Executive Decision. Needless to say, executive decision is the lesser one of the bunch, because not just because Seagal isn't in this much, but I just as a film, I don't dig it. Anyway, here we have another Steven Seagal box set, and this is a drop in quality from those previous films we just showed. Yes, even executive decision is better than any of these films, but yeah, the Steven Seagal box. This is one of my first purchases I got of Seagal back in the day, when I was really into him. But yeah, this one contains the infamously bad Kill Switch, which is known for its many body doubles and many dubbing of Seagal's voice. And it's also known for a scene where a serial killer flies out of a window approximately 16 times. No, he doesn't fly out 16 times. He flies out once, but we get to see it 16 times. They just keep cutting back and back and back to it. Yeah, that's as annoying as it sounds.
You're under arrest. Get up against the wall and give me a hand.
Fuck you!
Anyway, Belly of the Beast. This one is actually decent. Straight to DVD film. Early 2000s, so Seagal isn't quite as weighty yet. Mercenary for Justice, probably my favorite out of this box set. I do like Mercenary for Justice. I actually watched this one the other night again. And this one is actually fairly decent in my assessment. I mean, especially now that I've seen pretty much all of his... I've seen all of his stuff now. Putting it in perspective, that one is decent. And then Out for a Kill. It's a cool cover. And it's a okay, decent straight-to-video film. It's nothing high-worthy. It's nothing like his early stuff. Not nowhere close, but you know, it's decent. It's decent. It's got a very weird, hilariously funny fight scene in a barber shop. Those who have seen the film know what I'm talking about, where Seagal is sitting in a barber's chair, and the barber, this Asian guy, he goes crazy, and a fight scene ensues, and this Asian barber is climbing and, you know, flying off the walls like a sort of spider monkey. You really have to see that to believe it. It's amazing. Anyway, Seagal is a dangerous man, let's not forget, so that's why this film is appropriately titled A Dangerous Man. Yeah, this one I never really cared for too much, to be honest. This is a very below average, even for Seagal standards, straight-to-video film for me, in my opinion anyway. But after he was a dangerous man, he wanted to show us that he was a good man, so here is a good man. And this one I do enjoy, and this one is also infamously known for having the best and most incoherent and most senseless Seagal line ever. Like, I still don't know what the hell he meant by this. Roll the clip.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Because now, I will snatch every motherfucker birthday.
I will snatch every motherfucking birthday cake. That would have been more sensible if you snatch every birthday cake, but... Anyway, that's a good man. Next up, Steven Seagal is against the dark, but he's all for the light. And this is Against the Dark, where he is a vampire hunter with a sword. Yes, now despite, again, him being on the cover here, Seagal isn't in this as much as you would expect, you know, especially if you get this cover. But he's in it enough, and I think this is actually a pretty decent sci-fi, horror, action, slashing, hack and slash film, whatever the hell this is, whatever this genre, whatever kind of genre this falls into. Decent. I do like that one. Next is some trivia. Steven Seagal can play multiple nationalities. Among these nationalities are Russian, Italian, American, Chinese, Black American. He can play that too. Yeah, he can play Latinos. He can have a little Spanish accent, say, you know. Steven Seagal can be a lot of things. But let's not forget, in most of the films, he has the Asian kind of zen going on. So that's why he's the Asian connection for this film. Take a guess what nationality he sort of tries to be here, or, I mean, I'll give you a hint by the way he's clothed. He thinks he's Asian again, so, yeah. Steven Seagal is the Asian connection. This one, I've been sort of passively aggressive on some before, but this one I probably will be just aggressive on, because I legitimately think this is not only the worst Seagal film. This is probably, and I've seen a lot of bad films, this is probably the worst film I've ever seen. It's 2006's Attack Force. Steven Seagal is totally photoshopped on the cover on somebody else's body with a very bad Photoshop work. I mean, it's even like his face on somebody else's head. He never uses these guns. He never is dressed like this. He's dubbed constantly, mid-sentence even, during his own, with his own voice. It switches to the dub voice. This is the worst of the worst. This is the absolute bottom of the barrel Seagal. We're gonna have a little discussion on bottom of the barrel and some of the best at the end of this collection video, but keep that in mind for now. Anyway, next up, take a guess what Seagal is in this film again. This is Attrition from 2018, and Seagal's nationality is... oh, he looks like an Asian Buddha once again. Yeah, Seagal is, again, this I think is shot in Thailand, so yeah, Seagal is once again in his Asian face in this one. But actually, 2018, probably the last decent Steven Seagal film that he's done. And since he hasn't done a film since 2019, you should keep it that way, Steve. Go out on this one. Let this be your last decent one. Actually, legitimately, I did think that was an okay film. This is his last film, speaking of which, from 2019, Beyond the Law. So yeah, to date, this is Steven Seagal's last film. And also DMX's last film, or one of his last, because obviously DMX has passed away not that long ago, I think. But yeah, Beyond the Law has Steven Seagal as a bad guy in this one. He was also a bad guy in the Asian Connection. And he's going to be the bad guy in a couple other films we have. But obviously, even if he's the bad guy, you still can't touch him or kill him. So yeah. Anyway, this is Black Dawn, which is a sequel to The Foreigner. We're going to get to that one in a minute. But Black Dawn, yeah, I mean, even though it's called Foreigner 2, it actually has zero connection to The Foreigner, besides him playing the same character of Jonathan Cold. And there's like a scene from The Foreigner taken and put into this as a flashback, but that's really all. It's a very self-contained story. But yeah, that's Black Dawn. This one is known infamously for Seagal walking away 18 days into the shooting schedule. He was supposed to be on set for, I think, 30 days. So a lot of this film is without Seagal, which is a plus. Next up, Seagal is Born to Raise Hell. Again, I can make some puns. He's also born to do a lot of other stuff. None of it good. But yeah, this is Born to Raise Hell. Average. Slightly below average, probably. Next up, Seagal does have a code of honor. And this is Code of Honor. Yeah, this one, it's... so is it Keanu Waxman film? No, it's not. Because Seagal is also known for having a lot of films with Keanu Waxman. This isn't one of them. Oh, I think I remember this one. This is, I mean, all these films at some point they sort of mesh together. But yeah, I think I remember this one. Yeah, this one, it was okay, this one, from what I remember. This one I remember being a very, very bad one and really put me off on Seagal for years. I mean, this was, I think, the last film I picked up before 2020 when I did that Seagal collection video, and this film really put me off so much that I did that video and in the way that I did it. But this is Contract to Kill. It's only like the 10th film of Seagal that has the word kill in it. If you want to check out the trailer for Contract to Kill, scan that code. Well, they promote the trailer in their DVD release. But yeah, this one I don't enjoy this much. Oh, this is a Keanu Waxman film. So that was a Contract to Kill, but now Steven Seagal is Driven to Kill. What's his nationality in this one? No, it's not Asian. No, it's not Italian. He doesn't even try to be black in this film. This one, he plays Ruslan, a Russian mobster. Yeah, and he also has a Russian accent. He tries to do it anyway. But yeah, Steven Seagal and Driven to Kill. Actually, I've always enjoyed this film, to be fair. I mean, it sort of sounded like I was going to go negative on this one, but I actually do enjoy Driven to Kill. This one I do enjoy, so yeah. Make it out what you will. And here is the... this one had some of the funniest lines of Seagal's career. End of a gun. I kid you not, there's a scene in this. It does happen after a disturbing scene where Seagal has sex with a woman, with a girl, I should say, who was old enough to be his granddaughter. But afterwards, the black girl who he had sex with says something about, along the lines of, don't do this, I'm going to make you cookies, or something like that. And then Seagal says, I love the fuck out of cookies. I'm like, yeah, you love the fuck out of cookies. You definitely do, my friend. I mean, it shows. This is Seagal's last great film, arguably. Exit Wounds from 2001. Yeah, I love Exit Wounds. This is a great one. Before I get distracted by the plenty of other titles, this makes me think that after this one, he only did Half Past Dead, which was his last theatrical film, until Machete. I do have Machete, but that will also not be featured in this video, sadly, because, well, he's not the main star, even though I do like Seagal in it, and I do like Machete a lot, but that's Danny Trejo's film, so yeah. And Danny Trejo will be featured in this, but not in Machete. Anyway, this is the Spanish Blu-ray for Fire Down Below. Always been one of my Seagal favorites, this one. I really, really love Fire Down Below. Always thought this was very underrated. Yeah, it's silly and it's cheesy in places, but you know what? I don't care. I love this film. Yes, Seagal gets preachy about the environment again, but, you know. Next up is, this is a average one for sure. Average at best, I should say. This is Flight of Fury. Pretty much, let's remake Firefox, but then with Seagal. Yeah, that is as bad as it sounds. But yeah, you know what, for what it is, again, pretty average Seagal film. It's I can watch it. I can definitely watch it. It's watchable. So yeah. Next up is Steven Seagal's first film where he has his trademark, awesome, totally not dyed, black goatee in Force of Execution. This was the first one where he had that look. Again, this is a Keanu Waxman film. As you can see, there's Danny Trejo, also with Ving Rhames. Seagal plays a crime boss in this one called Mr. Alexander, which, by the way, he plays a Alexander in like 5 movies. He has something with that name. He like jerks off to Alexander. Like every script, he's like, oh, I wanna be Mr. Alexander in this one again. Like, what the hell is this deal with Alexander? He's like some sort of fixation with it. This is the first one though, but yeah, Seagal isn't in this one as much. Actually, it's Bran Foster who's sort of more like the lead. And he has some decent fight scenes and everything in it. But sorry, loose disc. Oh, look at that. We might get some Machete after all. But that's the wrong one. Yeah, Force of Execution. It's okay. Here is The Foreigner. This is the first one that inspired that sequel. Like, yeah, this is the film we needed a sequel to, Seagal. Of all your films, we really were in demand for a Foreigner 2. This one, along with Attack Force, Kill Switch, and Submerge, which we're going to get to shortly. This one is definitely belonging in the bottom of the barrel Seagal films for me. The Foreigner, totally incohesive plot, totally Um, worthless. There's nothing in this film to enjoy for me. There's absolutely nothing. It's terrible plot, terribly written, terribly acted. It has nothing going for it. Then Steven Seagal's General Commander. One of his last films. I think this came out the same year as Beyond the Law. I think this was his second to last film. This one I did not enjoy. This one I didn't enjoy. General Commander. This is one of the last additions to my collection to complete it. This is one of the more recent things I picked up and watched. So next up, we go back to his glory days again. The Glimmer Man with Keaton Ivory Wayans. Great buddy cop action film. Serial killer. Thriller. Yeah, what can I say? This is a top 10 Seagal film for me. And then his last theatrical film in 2002. Like I said, his last theatrical until Machete in 2010. Half Past Dead with Ja Rule and Morris Chestnut, who was also in Under Siege 2 Dark Territory with Seagal. It is a Seagal in prison. Seagal going to New Alcatraz. They rebuilt and reopened Alcatraz. So yeah. Next up is Steven Seagal's best, for my money anyway, straight-to-video film. This is Into the Sun. This is his absolute best film that he's done since he went straight-to-video, if you ask me. Yeah, I love this film. This is shot in Japan. It has actually Seagal doing most of the stuff. No dubbing. He actually seems to be committed to this one. This is a great one. This is really, without doubt, the best Steven Seagal straight-to-DVD film. Next up, I think this is the first collaboration that he did with director Keanu Waxman. But this is The Keeper from 2009. Actually, a film that I do enjoy, this one, to be honest. I do enjoy this film, The Keeper. Seagal guesses nationality in this one. He tries to be Cajun or Southern in this one again. This is another one. I think I forgot that accent or ethnicity or territory or whatever you want to call it. I forgot that he can do that as well. He can be Cajun or Southern. You know, in this one he wears a big cowboy hat and everything. Yeah, you don't see it here on the cover, but trust me, he can do that. I think the sarcasm is ripping off me. Next, this is another one of his, this is way below average. Killing Salazar, also known as Cartels. Yeah, Seagal sits down for most of this film. This is again one of his later ones, one of his last ones. Not a film I recommend at all. Although again, Seagal has the hilarious "I was not born on a motherfucking turnip truck, and I was not born at night" line in that film, which I did enjoy. But other than that, next up is one of Seagal's all-time greatest, probably my second favorite Steven Seagal film, but it's the awesome 1990 action classic Marked for Death. Steven Seagal against the Jamaicans, taking on the Jamaican drug posse, Screwface, man, I don't know Screwface. Love this film. I fucking love this film. One thought he was invincible and the other thought he could fly. Well, they were both wrong. Love that shit. Absolutely love it. Next up, again, this is a decent straight-to-DVD film. Steven Seagal and Steve Austin co-star in this one. Maximum Conviction. Directed by Keanu Waxman. If I wager my 10 cents on it, I would say this is probably the best Keanu Waxman, Steven Seagal team up. Right next to The Keeper, probably, because other than that, they haven't really done a lot of great films in my opinion together. But anyway, this is Maximum Conviction. This one I do recommend. Steve Austin actually is really excellent in that film. No, he actually gets a chance to shine in the film. It's not like Steven Seagal steals the spotlight away from him completely, or tries to, you know. He definitely doesn't have the same pull as he did in the 90s, where he cut down Wayne Forsythe's scenes in Out for Justice because he was being upstaged by him. But anyway, next up is Mercenary Absolution. Quasi-sequel to A Good Man, where he played John Alexander, and he plays John Alexander. There goes that Alexander name again. He plays Alexander as well in this film. This one with the great Vinnie Jones and also Byron Mann, who actually starred in quite a few films with Seagal. Byron Mann, Ryu from Street Fighter. Next up is Seagal's directorial debut and his last directorial effort to date, On Deadly Ground, available on Blu-ray from Spain only. So yeah, this is a Spanish Blu-ray for it. Yeah. People make of it, people make out that it's a bad film and everything, and yeah, it's not a great film. It's not a great film. But yeah, again, I've seen all these films that we talked about and that we're still going to talk about after this. And I can say, after putting everything into perspective, On Deadly Ground is like the Godfather compared to films like A Good Man or Killing Salazar, definitely Attack Force. So you take it from me, On Deadly Ground is a great film. It's a great Steven Seagal action film. And I mean, you got Michael Caine hamming it up as the villain. How can you not love it? Next up is my all-time favorite Seagal film, Out for Justice. Seagal's nationality? Italian-American as Gino Foligno. Yeah, I didn't make up the name. Thanks Seagal for that one, probably. He wrote this, didn't he? It's not written by Steven Seagal. It is produced by Steven Seagal. Okay. That's most of his films are. I did actually upgrade that to Blu-ray. Again, a Spanish Blu-ray. So yeah, finally got that upgrade to Blu-ray for the watch party I'm going to do with Gareth later this month. And then we have Out of Reach. Again, there's a few puns I can make with that title regarding Steven Seagal. A couple of things that are out of reach for him nowadays because of his weight gain. But I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna go there. Out of Reach is it's below average. It's still a watchable one though, but this is his first straight to DVD or straight to video film. The Patriot. Actually not a bad film. It just could have used a little bit more action if you ask me, but I actually do not hate this film at all. I think this is a pretty decent, solid Steven Seagal film. Steven Seagal, the perfect weapon. Actually, he is not the perfect weapon in this one, but it's him. This does have one of the weirdest endings for a Seagal film. I don't want to spoil it, but all I'm saying is Seagal has learned the art of multiplying. Yeah, make you curious, don't I? Anyway, yeah, it's like a futuristic Blade Runner cyberpunk-esque setting in this film. Seagal is like the ultimate villain, the ultimate corporate bad guy. It's not a bad film, but it's watchable. Again, for some of these films, that's really the best praise I can give it, is that they're watchable. This one is one of Seagal's better straight-to-video films, followed by another I see already in the pile ahead. But here's Pistol Whip, some cool whip, as the famous Family Guy joke goes. But no, Pistol Whipped with also Lance Henriksen in this one. This one is directed by Dutch director Roel Reijnen. Yeah, that's the Dutch way of pronouncing it. Yeah, this is actually a really, really decent Steven Seagal straight-to-video film. If you ever want to see a good Steven Seagal straight-to-video film, you can't go wrong with that one. Or this one, again, featuring Machete, Danny Trejo. They must like each other or something. I don't think Danny Trejo and Seagal have issues with each other because they've worked together a couple of times. I mean, Danny Trejo was even in Marked for Death in the opening scene, so that means they worked together like 4 times. Marked for Death, this one, Machete, and Force of X. Yeah, 4 times. 4 times that Steven Seagal and Danny Trejo worked together. So, yeah. This is also known in different territories, by the way, as urban justice. So, In case you got confused with the cover and you saw the cover with Urban Justice, that's why it's titled Renegade Justice here in my, I guess in Europe. So yeah. Next up is 2006's Shadow Man, which a lot of people would put at the bottom of Seagal's filmography, but strangely enough, I do enjoy this one. I do enjoy this film. Yeah, it has a lot of Seagal doubles. It has a lot of Seagal dubbing. And it's pretty much the most basic plot you can cook up for a straight-to-video Seagal film. His daughter gets kidnapped and he has to rescue her, etc., etc. But I do enjoy it, you know. Sue me, I enjoy that one. Here is Sniper Special Ops. Don't enjoy this one this much. Again, Seagal is sitting down for most of it. He's barely in it, so a lot of other actions. People get to carry out the action. So there are decent action in it because Seagal is not doing any of it, so we don't see many doubles or stuff like that. But yeah, it's that's a disappointing one. Speaking of which, again, this one belongs at the absolute bottom, if you ask me. This is Submerged from 2003, if I'm not mistaken. Which, I mean, I can't blame Seagal. I can blame Seagal. I can't blame the director and the people who made this for it, because this was originally going to be Seagal versus aliens on a submarine. Like, you know, a monster film on a submarine or stuff like that. Like Alien or The Thing on a submarine. And Seagal read the script. He agreed to the script. He said he loved to do it. But then a week before shooting started, he called up the director and said, "Hey man, you know, I've been thinking, I don't really want to be in a monster movie. So, you know, we got to change the script." So a week before shooting started, Seagal wanted to change the script. So that's why it turned into the mess that it is. Thank you very much, Mr. Seagal. Thank you. Anyway, only two more. I know this is going to be a longer video, but here is Ticker. Around the time of Exit Wounds. This was another straight-to-DVD one, as far as I'm aware. At least it was, I think, over here. But directed by the late Albert Pune. Hope I pronounced that right. Director of Cyborg. Quite a pretty decent cast. Tom Sizemore and Dennis Hopper in it as well. Steven Seagal, I think, has a few scenes where he does some singing and guitar playing. So, you know what? I thought this wasn't, you know, nearly as bad as people make it out to be. So yeah, and I guess we're ending on a semi-positive note as well, because as much as people hate this one, I also don't hate this film as much. I do tolerate this one. I do enjoy this one. And this is again Seagal thinking he's black in Today You Die. He even has a black girlfriend in this one. So yeah, there you go. That's Today You Die. That's the last Steven Seagal film that I have in this collection here. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to recommend you some of Seagal's best and some of his worst. However, as a caveat, I mean, I can definitely recommend some of the best films as Steven Seagal's 80s and 90s films, but that would be too easy. I'm going to recommend you the best straight-to-video films, in my opinion, and recommend you, well, not recommend you, I guess, the 5 worst straight-to-video films. So I'm going to show you a straight-to-video career, the best and the worst, according to me. I watched all these films, so you don't have to remember. You know, I watched all the terrible ones. I fought my way through all the terrible ones. This is really a public service if I think about it. I watch these films so you guys don't have to. But no, I'm going to recommend you the 5 best Seagal straight-to-video films and the 5 worst Seagal straight-to-video films, in my opinion. So, here we go. Okay, so here we go. These are the 5 best Steven Seagal straight-to-DVD films, in my humble opinion. Number 5, I recommend Driven to Kill from 2008, where he plays the Russian gangster. Yeah, I do recommend this one. I do really enjoy this film. I know a lot of people give it a shit, but I like it. Number 4, I would say The Keeper from 2009. I do enjoy this one as well. I think these people universally agree are some of the best Steven Seagal ones, so this one might not just be my opinion, but Renegade Justice at number 3 for me. Like I said, this is really one of his best direct-to-video efforts, just like my number 2 pick, Pistol Whipped. And of course, I mean, I might have spoiled this one earlier, but my number 1 straight-to-DVD Seagal film is Into the Sun. So now I'm gonna say the 5 films that you best avoid like the plague. Unless you're curious enough and you just really want to put yourself through it. Here we go. So Seagal films you need to avoid, or that I would stay as far away from if I could, but unfortunately that ship has sailed. But number 5, Contract to Kill from, I guess this was 2016 or something. 2018 is what it says here on the DVD, but yeah, I really don't recommend Contract to Kill. So number 4, The Foreigner. Like I said, it has absolutely nothing going for it. Number 3, Submerged. Again, it's Seagal's fault that this turned into a mess. It should have been a much better film, as I, if I believe the concept of it. But yeah. Number 2, Kill Switch. As bad as it is, there's still some enjoyable stuff in it, but oh my god, it's so terrible. And number 1, again, I spoiled this a little bit earlier, but it's gotta be Attack Force. Like I said, it's not only the worst Steven Seagal film in my opinion, it's also like probably the worst film I've ever saw so far. And like I said, I've seen a bunch of pretty bad films in my time, so that is saying a hell of a lot. But yeah, that's pretty much all my Steven Seagal talk for now. Like I said, Seagal-Tember is now in kickoff by Gareth Video Tasties, who is doing a variety of Steven Seagal watch parties on his channel. I'm going to be a part of 2 of them. Now, I'm actually recording this on the day I'm going to do Hard to Kill with him. But I don't know, I doubt this video is going to go up before that watch party, so that might be after. But if you're watching this after, go watch that Hard to Kill watch party on the playback. Or if this is by some miracle uploaded before, later tonight is going to be Hard to Kill. But and then later this month, I'm going to be doing Out for Justice, my favorite Seagal film, with not only Gareth, but also with Ricky, all the F reviewers. So really looking forward to that. Anyway, that's Steven Seagal. I'm finally done. I can finally put this whole thing to rest. I can put the collection away. I can only now watch his greatest films if I'm ever in the fix, if I'm ever in the need for Seagal fix. I never need to watch one of his terrible ones again. I got the collection, and that's all that matters. I got a complete Seagal collection. You're welcome, by the way. Like I said, it's a public service. I watch all these films so you guys don't have to. Anyway, that's it for now. Take care. Thanks for watching, as always. Keep punching, and we'll see you all very soon. And as, Steven Seagal would say, man, consider, subscribing and stuff, and all that kind of stuff. That's, yeah. Ever notice how Seagal always does that in films as well? Like the big exhale of air, like... He always does that in pretty much every film. But anyway, that's it for now, guys. Take care. See you all laters.